The grand chamber of the Galactic Senate fell silent as Ambassador Sarah Chen stepped onto the crystalline platform. Around her, representatives from 47 species observed with expressions ranging from polite interest to barely concealed disdain. The humans had finally been granted membership to the Galactic Union, but not without controversy. Senator Vexithari of the Zephyrian Collective leaned forward, his serpentine form coiling elegantly around his seat. "So, Ambassador Chen, your species seeks full voting rights. But first we must understand your qualifications. Tell us of humanity's greatest military achievements." Sarah felt the weight of countless alien eyes upon her. She had prepared for this moment, knowing that humanity's reputation preceded them. The galaxy viewed humans as a young, primitive species that had barely mastered interstellar travel. "Honored senators," Sarah began, her voice steady despite the magnitude of the moment. "Humanity's military history spans millennia. Perhaps you would like to hear about our world wars." A ripple of what could only be described as amusement passed through the chamber. Senator Corinth of the Hegemony raised one of his forearms dismissively. "World wars? How charmingly provincial. You fought on a single planet." The Zephyrian delegate's laugh was a hissing sound that echoed off the chamber walls. "We conquered 17 star systems before your species discovered fire. Your world wars sound like children playing in a sandbox." Sarah remained composed, though her jaw tightened slightly. "The First World War lasted 4 years, from 1914 to 1918 by our calendar. Over 70 million military personnel were mobilized." 70 million? Senator Thiss of the Arachnoid Republic clicked her mandibles in what Sarah recognized as their equivalent of laughter. "Our breeding chambers produce more warriors than that in a single cycle." "The war cost approximately 40 million lives," Sarah continued, ignoring the dismissive chittering around her. "It reshaped our entire planet's political landscape and introduced weapons of unprecedented destruction." Senator Corinth waved a hand lazily. "Primitive projectile weapons, no doubt. Chemical explosives? How quaint." "Chemical weapons were indeed used," Sarah said quietly. "Chlorine gas, phosgene, mustard gas. Soldiers died in trenches that stretched across continents, fighting for mere meters of ground." The chamber's mood began to shift almost imperceptibly. Several delegates leaned forward, their casual dismissal replaced by something approaching interest. "But that was merely the first," Sarah continued. "The Second World War began 21 years later. This time, over 100 million personnel were involved across multiple continents and oceans." Senator Vexthari's vertical pupils narrowed. 100 million? On a single world? The war lasted 6 years. We estimate between 70 to 85 million casualties, approximately 3 to 4% of our entire global population at the time. Sarah's voice remained steady, but something in her tone made the chamber fall completely silent. "Impossible," breathed Senator Thiss. "No species could sustain such losses and survive." Sarah smiled grimly. "We not only survived, honored senators, we rebuilt. In the process, we developed technologies that would shape our species forever. Nuclear fission was weaponized during this conflict." A collective intake of breath echoed through the chamber. Nuclear weapons were known throughout the galaxy, but most species developed them long after achieving interstellar travel, if at all. "You're claiming your species developed nuclear weapons while confined to a single planet?" Senator Corinth's earlier dismissiveness had vanished entirely. 2 cities were destroyed by atomic bombs to end the war. But that wasn't the most significant aspect of these conflicts. Sarah paused, letting her words sink in. "The most remarkable thing was our capacity for simultaneous warfare across multiple theaters, spanning our entire planet, while maintaining complex supply lines, developing new technologies, and coordinating millions of personnel across vast distances using primitive communication systems." Senator Vexithari was now fully upright, his coils tense with attention. "Multiple theaters? The European theater, the Pacific theater, the North African campaign, the Eastern Front, the China-Burma-India theater, the Battle of the Atlantic." Sarah listed each conflict zone. Humanity fought simultaneously across land, sea, air, and even began early experiments in space-based warfare. The arachnoid delegate's compound eyes focused intently on Sarah. "Your species coordinated planetary warfare using what level of technology?" Radio communications, mechanical computers the size of rooms, paper maps, and human messengers in many cases. Yet we moved armies of millions, coordinated airstrikes across oceans, and managed supply chains that kept soldiers fed and armed on opposite sides of our planet. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of alien voices, all speaking at once. Sarah waited for order to be restored. Senator Corinth stood, his forearms spread wide. Ambassador Chen, are you telling us that your species, using technology we would consider medieval, successfully prosecuted simultaneous global warfare, involving over 100 million combatants, developed nuclear weapons, and emerged unified enough to eventually develop interstellar travel? That is correct, Senator. And these wars took place on your homeworld with nowhere to retreat, nowhere to establish safe colonies or fallback positions? Our entire civilization was at stake, yes. The silence that followed was deafening. Sarah could see the alien representatives processing this information, their casual dismissal of humanity rapidly transforming into something else entirely. Senator Vexithari was the first to speak, his voice carrying a new tone of respect. Most species fight their first interstellar conflicts with populations in the billions spread across multiple worlds. The logistics alone of coordinating planetary warfare with such primitive technology. And you not only survived, Senator Theiss added slowly, but learned to cooperate afterward. Your United Nations was formed after these conflicts? Within months of the Second World War's end, Sarah confirmed. We looked at what we had done to ourselves and chose a different path. The chamber fell silent once more. Sarah could see the shift in every alien face around her. They had expected to hear about primitive tribal conflicts. Instead, they had learned that humanity had fought wars of unprecedented scale and complexity, while still bound to a single planet, using technology most species would consider laughably outdated. Senator Corinth slowly sat back down. Ambassador Chen, I believe we need to reconsider our evaluation of humanity's qualifications for full membership in the Galactic Union. As murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber, Sarah allowed herself a small smile. Sometimes the most powerful weapon was simply the truth about what humanity could endure, adapt to, and overcome. The galaxy had just learned why humans were not to be underestimated.